So students, now we are going to discuss about the most important part of the chapter body fluid and circulation, that is cardiac cycle. We know that our heart is continuously beating from the birth till the death. And how this beating is taking place, what are the events that is taking place in the beats, in each heartbeats, that all things we are going to discuss today. Okay, before going into the cardiac cycle, we have to know what are the basic external as well as the internal features of a heart. We all know from 8th, 9th, 10th itself we came to learn about the external structure as well as the internal structure of the heart. Heart consists of 4 chambers, 2 atria and 2 ventricle. 2 atria is a receiving chambers and 2 ventricle is a pumping chambers. We know that right side of the heart consists of deoxygenated blood and left side of the heart consists of oxygenated blood. From left atrium to the left ventricle, there is a valve which is septum that separate this left atria and left ventricle. There is a valve that is called bicuspid valve which allow the flow of blood from left atrium to the left ventricle. In the right side, from right atrium to the right ventricle, there is a tricuspid valves which allow the flow of blood from right atrium to right ventricle. All these valves have two functions. The first one, allow the flow of blood in one direction. Second one, to prevent the backward flow from ventricle to atria. So there are two types of valves there. First one, atrioventricular valve, which we already discussed, and second one, semilunar valve. From right ventricle as well as the left ventricle, they pump towards aorta as well as the pulmonary artery. This flow is regulated by a valve which is called semilunar valve. Clear? So we already know one more thing. Our heart has highly complex circulatory system which is called double circulation. What is meant by double circulation? The separate pathway for deoxygenated blood, there is a separate pathway is there, and oxygenated blood, there is a separate pathway is there. No fusing or no mixing of the blood is taking place in this double circulatory pathway. So how this double circulatory pathway is taking place in our body? We know already discussed the right side consists of what? Deoxygenated blood. So what happened? From upper part of the body, superior vena cava is a vein which carries deoxygenated blood into right atrium. From the lower part of the body, the inferior vena cava will carry deoxygenated blood into the right atrium. From the right atrium, with the help of the tricuspid valve, it moves onto the right ventricles. And from the right ventricle, there is the semilunar valve, which we already discussed. And with the help of that semilunar valve, it will be pumped towards pulmonary artery to the lungs. And from the lungs, where it gets oxygenated, and it will again pump back to that left atrium with the help of pulmonary vein. From the left atrium, it is passed into the left ventricle with the help of bicuspid valve. From the bicuspid valves, with the help of semilunar valve, it is pumped into the aorta, and aorta will distribute the oxygenated blood into different part of the body. This is the double circulation that is taking place in our body. This is a basic concept about the heart. Then we have to know how the electrical conducting system taking place in our heart. We already know heart is what? Heart is an auto-excitable organ. They don't need any external stimulus or external potential to initiate its beating. They are auto-excitable. They have their own action potential to start beating. Here you can see there's a nodal tissue. What is meant by nodal tissue? A special kind of cardiac muscles seen on the right upper corner of the right atrium, which is called sinoatrial node, sinoatrial node. And this sinoatrial node have a special character. They have an ability to generate an action potential by their own. They are called pacemaker of the heart. They have the ability to generate their action potential. So from the sinoatrial node, they will generate an action potential, and this action potential will be distributed towards both atrium initially. So from sinoatrial node, that action potential or impulse is generated, and that impulse is transported towards both left atrium as well as the right atrium. And from the sinoatrial node, it will reaches towards atrioventricular node, where it is presented left lower corner of right atrium. In sinoatrial node, it is present on the right upper corner of right atrium, and AV node, atrioventricular node, is present on the left lower side of right atrium. Clear? So from sinoatrial node, it is passes into the atrioventricular node, and from the atrioventricular node, it is passing into the atrioventricular bundle. Here you can see, this is atrioventricular bundle, and from the atrioventricular bundle, there is a bifurcation place. This is called bundle of His. His is the scientist who discovered this bundle, hence it is called bundle of His. This is the bundle of His. From the bundle of His, it is bifurcate, it undergoes branches, and that branches is distributed towards all the ventricular walls. Clear? And that branches is called Purkinje fibers. So the impulse which is generated at sinoatrial node will passes into the atrioventricular node, and from atrioventricular bundles, and it is a bundle of His, and from the bundle of His, it is bifurcate and branches and distributed towards all the ventricular wall. This is the electrical impulse pathway that is taking place on our heart. Clear? Now we can move on to the cardiac cycle. What are the sequence of events that is taking place in a cardiac cycle? So we already know that what is cardiac cycle? The sequence of events. What are the events which is taking place on a heartbeats? All these events are taking place in a 0.8 second. A single heartbeat consists of 0.8 second. So the cardiac cycle can be divided into 4 different phases. First one, joint diastole. Second one, atrial systole. Third one, ventricular systole. And fourth one, ventricular diastole. These are the 4 different phases of a cardiac cycle. Now we can go into each of this phase one by one. So first one is atrial systole, joint diastole. So what is happening in the joint diastole? Here you can see what is happening on the joint diastole. All the 4 chambers of the heart, are in the relaxed state. There is no contraction, nothing is there. All the 4 chambers of the heart are in very relaxed state. Here you can see all the 4 chambers of the heart in relaxed state. It is the filling phase. How it is filling take place? Both from vena cava as well as the pulmonary vein, the right atrium as well as the left atrium, it is filling the blood from lungs as well as the different part of the body. Oxygenated blood from the lungs in the left atrium and deoxygenated blood from the different part of the body in the right atrium. All this blood are filling. At the time here you can see, this is the 2 valve, tricuspid as well as the bicuspid valve, which is together known as AV valves. So this valve get open. Okay, then it is coming into the ventricle from this pulmonary vein, as pulmonary artery as well as superior and inferior vena cava, both of this atrium get filled, and from the atrium it is moving into both ventricle. This is taking place on the joint diastole, and it is just a filling phase. Nothing happened, very slow and calm. All the 4 chambers are in the relaxed state. AV valves opens and it is completely filling onto both ventricle. This is happen on the joint diastole phase. And second one, atrial systole. Name itself indicate atrial systole. Systole means contraction. So now we know that there is a node called a sinoatrial node. Okay, sinoatrial node is present on the right upper corner of right atrium, and from the sinoatrial node an impulse is generated, and that impulse passes into the both atrium, left atrium as well as the right atrium. Here you can see the impulse which is generating from the sinoatrial node will be passing into both atrium here and both left and right atrium. So what happened? Both atriums started contracting. At the same time, what they will do, no? Here there is a semilunar valve there. Here there is a semilunar valve there, and that will undergo closure, and the blood from here, from atria, all the blood which is present inside the atria will undergo contraction and will move on to the ventricle. Clear? Here you can see sinoatrial node generate an action potential. This causes both atria to contract, and all the blood which is present on the atria will move on to the ventricle. A 30% increase in the blood will be taking place this time. So this is completely a filling phase of the cardiac cycle. Then we can move on to the ventricular systole. What is meant by ventricular systole? Ventricle undergoes contraction. How this contraction happen? As we already said, from sinoatrial node. This impulse is generating. It is transported towards both atria, and from this atria, it will move on to this AV node, and it will be move on to the AV bundle and bundle of His, and it will be bifurcate into Purkinje fiber. So, impulse which is generated from the sinoatrial node now will distributed towards entire ventricle. Clear? So, at the time before ventricular contraction, what happened? This both valve, no, here one valve is there, bicuspid and tricuspid valves. This will undergo closure. For what? To prevent the backflow of blood from ventricle towards atria. We already mentioned the functions of the valve. Two function, for only flow in one direction, and second one to prevent the backward flow. So preventing the backward flow, the bicuspid and tricuspid valves which is present on the left and right atrium ventricular wall get closer. And due to the closure of this AV valves, what happened? We came to heard about our first heart sound which is called lub sound. Clear? So by the closure of AV valve, we hear the first heart sound which is called a lub sound. So this AV valve undergoes closure. All the blood are in the ventricle. Ventricle is completely filled with the blood. It is undergoes what? A sudden contraction and result in the open of the semilunar valve. Sudden contraction that result in the open of semilunar valve. So from the right ventricle, it will be move on to the, with the help of pulmonary artery, it will move on toward the lungs, and from here the left ventricle, it will move on to the aorta towards a different part of the body. So it is completely what? A pumping phase. Okay. So here you can see it prevent the backflow, semilunar valves open, and the blood is pumped into the lungs and the body, and it is the complete filling phase. All the filling of all the pumping of our body is taking place with this ventricular systole. Now we can move on to the last phase, that is ventricular diastolic phase. The ventricle is completely undergoes relaxation after the systole. So now what happened? Here you can see the blood is pumping from here. So now what happened? If all the pumping finish means the semilunar valve will close. Semilunar valve will close. That help in the formation of the second heart sound which is called a dub sound. Okay, the semilunar valve will close, that help in the formation of the second heart sound which is called a dub sound. So after that what happened? This AV valves will again open, and again from pulmonary vein as well as the superior and inferior vena cava, the blood is pumped, filling on both atrium, and this AV valve opens, it is moving into ventricle. So this ventricle undergoes diastole, and again this process, joint diastole, atrial systole, atrial diastole, ventricular diastole, all this process sequence of event is repeating again and again in our bodies. So this is a glance of how a single heartbeat is taking place in our body. Now we have to know a little bit knowledge about certain calculations. So here you can see in each heartbeat 70 ml of blood is pumped out of the heart. In each heartbeat 70 ml of blood is pumped out of the heart. And about we know in a minute 72 to 73 times heartbeat is taking place. 72 to 73 times a heartbeat is taking place. So, all total about a 5 liter of blood is pumped from our heart in a minute. Clear? 70 ml of blood is pumping by our heart in a heartbeats. About 70 to 72 times a heartbeat is taking place in a minute. So, in a minute, about 5 liters of blood is pumped out of the heart. This is a normal calculation, normal amount of blood that is taking place in our heart. So during exercise, during we are doing an extra activities and all, this will be increase. Okay, so the next we can go on to the some previous year question that is commonly asked from this portion. So the first one is the pacemaker of the human hearts. We already discussed about it. The pacemaker is nothing but sinoatrial node. Very simple. And the second one, during ventricular systole, the pressure inside the ventricle, we know that ventricular systole means it's a very important pumping phase. So in pumping phase, it is higher than atrial pressure. Okay, in atrial systole, it is not that much, and ventricle is a very important pumping phase. So the pressure during ventricular systole is much more than that of atrial systole. Clear? So C is the answer. Then third one. Here you can see which of the following is correctly explain the sequence of excitation of the hearts. We already discussed about it, the electrical conductivity of our heart. Where it is generating on SA node. So the two answers are correct. SA node. From SA node it is moving into AV node, and from AV node it is moving into bundle of His, and from bundle of His it is moving into Purkinje fiber. So the correct answer is option B. It is the sequence of electrical conductivity of a heart. This is very, very important. And that's all about this portion. Thank you.